This is the first electric SUV from Mercedes-Benz. Yes, it's based on the EQS sedan and it's just called the EQS SUV, but it is taller, bigger inside, and you get an optional third row, which I really wish I had on this press car. I really want to see what the third row looks like in terms of space. Just like the EQS sedan, you cannot open the hood. You have to take it to the dealer or a professional shop that is experienced and authorized with Mercedes-Benz electric vehicles. But we have a really cool front end. I think all these little Mercedes-Benz stars in this grille look really, really cool. And then this is a light bar, kind of hard to see in the daylight, but it looks really sharp in the dark. And I think the front end is super, super cool. And of course, since we can't open the hood, and obviously there's no frunk if we can't open the hood, we do still need to put windshield wiper fluid in. So this is your windshield wiper fluid port to add for the car. As you can see, we have some really funky 21-inch wheels on here. They're actually kind of like hubcaps, but again, this car is all about aerodynamics. This is a fully electric SUV and they built it for aerodynamics. Speaking of aerodynamics, the body style, it's built for aerodynamics, and I don't overly love it. I really prefer Mercedes-Benz full-size SUVs like the GLS body style, which is a little boxier, a little more rugged looking. But again, this is fully electric, built for aerodynamics, so it's kind of a bubble looking vehicle, I feel like. So, colors, gorgeous. This is the Twilight blue metallic. I love that the door handles pop out at me when I walk up to it with the key fob on me. Right now they've closed and locked automatically because I've been outside of the car for a few minutes. But I can also just push on them and they will, all four will pop out. And then to lock, I just swipe my fingers over that little square right there and it locks, and it has the power folding mirrors. Let's have a look at the back end. This one has the premium package on it. So it comes with the 10-degree rear steering, which is really cool. I will show you what that looks like, but it just makes it so easy to maneuver, and it has a really tight turning radius. I will show you what that looks like. I love it. You don't have to get the premium package. I think it's like 8,000 Canadian dollars to get the rear steering, but if you don't get that package, the rear steering is like a subscription and you're paying on an ongoing basis for it. So it's kind of weird. Okay, we have the real bubbly back end. Like I said, it's kind of like a big bubble and it's very rounded. And while it's cute, I like their boxier shapes better on their SUVs. We kind of have something weird here. We have fake dual exhaust. We don't need exhaust pipes or tailpipes on an electric vehicle, so I don't know why they did that. Probably for aesthetics. You can see we have sensors all over the place. The backup camera and the advanced driver assist features on this are insanely good, which is why you see sensors everywhere. That's what these are. And then we have our 4MATIC and EQS 580 badging on here, which looks clean, beautiful. I love the big rear tail light bar. And then I always enjoy the way Mercedes-Benz hides their backup camera. It's underneath the Mercedes star, and that's also how you open the trunk, but it is powered as well. You can open it from inside the vehicle or on the key fob as well. Then we have a ton of room back here. As you can see, there is a lot of room. However, I want to see it with the third row in there. I want to see how much space there is. I want to crawl in it and see how much headroom I have, see if it's just for toddlers or if you can actually get an adult back there. I'm really very curious. So Mercedes, please put the 3-row option next year in the press fleet. I want to check it out. Back here we can also power fold the rear seats all the way forward with these 2 buttons, and then we can also power them back up, of course, from these 2 buttons. As you can see, it doesn't fold completely flat, but it's a pretty flat load floor all together, and there's a ton of room back here. We have a gorgeous, huge, and comfortable back seat back here. This does have the premium rear seating option and the premium rear entertainment option. So we have two big options back here. I think combined they're around $10,000 or so. So it depends how important this kind of stuff is to you. Personally, I think most kids or rear passengers these days are using their own smart devices and they don't need this, but you can manage the navigation and seats and all kinds of things from these screens in addition to having them be media screens like entertainment. We even have a really cool little tablet back here. It is an Android tablet, but your rear passengers get this as part of that rear premium package. We also have a little cubby with wireless charging. This is part of that premium rear package. And then I think somewhere on here, there's cup holders. Now, I don't know why. Okay, you know what? The headrest needs to be down in order for these cup holders. You know what? I seem to recall this in the EQS as well. I couldn't figure out how to get the cup holders to come. Ah, there they are, all the way out. But we also have 4-zone climate control, a really nice flat floor back here, so you have a ton of room if you do have 3 passengers back here. And these seats are amazingly comfortable. We even have suede covered pillows and they're power seats. So these passengers back here can go forward, back, recline, and we have heated seats as well. I forgot to mention we also have a beautiful second sunroof back here, gorgeous lighting, and of course handles. And it's just really, really a nice, beautiful luxury back seat. We have a gorgeous interior up front as well. This is the black and Biscaya blue Napa leather interior option, and I absolutely love the combination. I love how bright this blue is, but it's not like overly bright. It's not obnoxious. It's just really classy. It almost reminds me of like nautical almost. Of course, we have a gorgeous black leather steering wheel with the gloss black on it. It's super classy. I am totally here for it. I love how it feels. Again, part of this hyper screen is 3 separate screens. We have a fully digital instrument gauge cluster, which we can, as always, completely customize. I love playing with Mercedes-Benz digital gauge clusters because they're so clear and so good, and you can customize them fully. Yes, this is off-road capable, and when you put this in off-road drive mode, the air suspension lifts it. So yeah, I absolutely adore their different settings for your digital gauge cluster. And when you get back in tomorrow and start it, it's going to show whatever you last changed it to. Yes, you see paddle shifters, but they are not for gear shifting. Of course, in an electric car, we don't have gear shifting, but the paddle shifters are used to change it from normal recuperation into strong recuperation and change the levels of recuperation, which just means your regenerative braking. So what that is, again, I talked about this in the G80, is braking puts energy back into the battery. And so you can change how strong you want that to work. I personally prefer one pedal driving, and I have not been able to get it to that point in this car. And the brakes feel really weird because the brakes will actually brake for you in this car automatically. And then when you apply the brake, when you actually really need to brake, I feel like it doesn't feel like it's braking strongly enough. So that's something I noticed this week. It's been really kind of weird to get used to. Let's go back to the screen. So because of this giant hyper screen, we have virtually no touch buttons in here. 4-way hazards, start-stop button is really your only hard touch buttons. These are like a haptic kind of thing, and it does respond physically, but the whole thing moves. And of course the car is turned off right now, so we're not seeing all the different options. Then in here we have 2 normal size cup holders, a little cubby, 2 USB-C chargers, and a wireless charging pad way up at the front here. I do really like this setup, but it is difficult to get used to no hard touch buttons. I've been using the volume control on the steering wheel, which is also just a touch button, and I just swipe my finger up to turn up the volume, swipe it down to turn it down, because I don't really like this button here. Of course, we have an amazing navigation screen. This does have the augmented reality head-up display, so I also get my navigation on my head-up display screen. That I believe is about a $3,000 option, so it's no joke. That is a serious option. And then of course we have all of our settings here in this screen, and wildly enough, you can do all these same things in the passenger screen here, and you can do everything from changing settings and comfort settings and seat settings and ambient lighting settings to seeing the off-road capability of the vehicle from the passenger side, as well as this can be entertainment for your passenger. What's also really cool about that screen is, let's say your passenger is watching a movie because you're on a long road trip. This screen has OLED and sensors which will sense if the driver is watching that screen. So if I'm distracted and I'm watching my passenger's movie, that screen will turn off because this car wants to make sure you're safe and wants to make sure that the driver is paying attention while driving. The sounds in this thing are crazy, and you can actually change the sounds. Actually, let me show you real quick. It's actually very cool. We have sound settings in all of our main vehicle settings here, but sound experience on or off, I obviously have it on, and these are the different sounds. And so what you choose here impacts what it sounds like when you're driving. It makes this really loud sound when you're accelerating, and then makes a completely different sound when you're slowing down and braking. So I will do a drive with you and show you what that's like. But the sounds in here are crazy. Let me see if I can find something I tried the very first day. I think it was in comfort. Yes, energizing comfort. This is wild. Okay, let's do freshness. So not only does it have this wild display, it changes the climate in here, the temperature, it changes what vents are working, and it also has, oh, my seat vibrator just turned on. It also has a perfume atomizer right over there, and it releases a scent. This scent is called No. 6 Mood Mimosa Interior Perfume. And actually it smells really good, but isn't that wild? Let's try a different one. I'm curious. Oh, and it turned on my seat. Oh, my seat is still massaging. Let's try. Okay. Sounds of the Sea sounds really cool. I mean, just look at those graphics. They're crazy. And then it changed the color of the ambient lighting as well, because I had a totally different color selected. I think it's wild. And then it just released a little more of that perfume again. I can smell it. It smells really fresh. Let's see what else we have. Ooh, power nap. I don't think we should have a power nap while we're driving, but hey, let's see what it looks like. Oh, okay. It wants me to close the door and lock them. Why? Oh, because it thinks I'm actually going to have a nap. We haven't talked about drive modes yet. So I mentioned off-road mode, but we have our dynamic button right here. And so we have individual mode, which you can set, sport mode, comfort mode, and eco mode. And of course, with Mercedes-Benz, you can customize each one. Okay, we have the two fixed glass sunroofs in here, so that means they do not open, but we have a very cool function to close the blinds, and they both close at the same time. All right, I want to show you some of this crazy interior ambient lighting. So we're going to drive into a parkade, and hopefully you can see it a little better if you can watch this strip of lighting here. It will actually flash, and there's just lighting everywhere throughout this car. There's even lighting in the back, but as you can see, this hyper screen is 56 inches. It is 3 separate screens, but is a 56-inch piece of glass. And this interior ambient lighting even responds to me turning down the temp, it'll flash blue, and then turning it up, it'll flash red. It's just really insane the way the lights flash throughout the entire vehicle. There is ambient lighting in the rear seats as well, but this screen is really, and the interior ambient lighting up here on the dash is really the most impressive thing. All right, those are the wild driving sounds here in the EQS SUV. You can change those settings like I showed you with the different options. You can choose the sounds you like best, or you can just turn that option off so you don't have to listen to weird futuristic sounds while you're driving. This is the 580, the top trim, the most powerful of the EQS SUVs. It gets 536 horsepower and 633 pound-feet of torque, which means instantaneous acceleration. This will get you from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.6 seconds. Listen. That second sound just now is me braking. All right, this EQS SUV gets a little less range than the sedan does because, of course, it's bigger. So it'll get you about 459 kilometers in pure electric range, which is about 285 miles. Again, I think that's sufficient. Nothing wrong with those numbers. This crazy luxury SUV will set you back a pretty penny, however. It starts at about 105,000 US dollars, but that is for the rear wheel drive version, the 450 Plus, which is not available for sale in Canada. In Canada, this one starts at about $158,000. And this one has a ton of options, as I've already mentioned. So this one will set you back about 178,000 Canadian dollars and about 134,000 US dollars. This is the top trim. This is the 580 all-wheel drive. It has a more powerful motor than the 450 gets as well. So what do you think? Super luxurious, very comfortable, a little quirky. I don't love the bubble styling of it, but let me know what you think. Leave me a question or a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.